Okay, hello. Um, I hope whoever is watching this is having a great day. And I'm gonna start sharing the screen. Also, I'm so sorry, I'm losing my voice. So this is gonna be fun. Okay. Um, so I decided to do my presentation on the doctrine of plural marriage. My name is Emma Belnap, by the way, and I'm in section 009 of Brother Menzel's class. Okay, sorry, the pictures are kind of all over the place, but I chose this topic because I have always been, I guess, intrigued by our history in the Church of plural marriage. I have wonderful parents who showed me what a marriage should look like. I'm not married yet, but they showed me what a marriage should look like. They showed me or still show me what it's like to be in a loving relationship with each other. Picture in the middle is a picture of my mom and I was actually named after Emma Smith. And when I first heard the idea of plural marriage, it kind of took me off guard, and I felt super sad and connected to Emma Smith and what she went through while polygamy and plural marriage was in practice. And so I wanted to do this practice, or I wanted to do my project on plural marriage to get a better understanding of maybe why it was done and ways that it's no longer in practice, obviously, today. So my first academic source, it's not gonna let me scroll down. Hold on. So my first academic source is a book called Line Upon Line. And it's Joseph Smith's Growing Understanding of the Eternal Family by professors who teach here at BYU. And they pretty much just talked the whole time about Joseph's learning and understanding as he became a prophet of eternal marriage, and plural marriage is a part of that as well. And I just like the quote: by the time of Joseph's death, he had shared the necessity for a man and a woman to be sealed for eternity, to obtain exaltation, and for the human family to be sealed together as children of God, bound through a covenantal chain. And I like this quote because it just shows that, there is a necessity in the world, and especially the world we live in, to be sealed to your spouse. And whether in that time it was multiple spouses, or here it's still important, and it's still something we need to take seriously. The second academic source, oh wow, okay, goodness, I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry. I had to make everything the 26 font like Brother Menzel wanted, so that's why it's kind of wonky, but I'm gonna definitely change that. I thought it was all fixed, but I guess not. The second academic source is the 1890s Mormon Culture of Letters and the Post-Manifestos Marriage Crisis, a New Approach to Home Literature, just by Lisa Olson Tate. And I just like the quote that says, there should actually be, a bit more right here. But should be emphasized that the concerns expressed were based on perceptions of the numbers of righteous women versus righteous men, a number that would be nearly impossible to quantify. 48 Gates' response, therefore, gouges the depths of fear and uncertainty that accompanied the abandonment of polygamy. Most urgent was the question of what the end of polygamy would mean for the marriage prospects of the young people. Young women especially had to be fortified to make the right choices regarding marriage because, Gates and her colleagues feared, those choices were going to be severely curtailed or subject to corrupting influences. And this just shows that plural marriage really wasn't easy for anyone. And those who were chosen to participate and practice plural marriage had to be worthy, and just showing that it really wasn't easy for a lot of people, but it had to be done. Okay, so the first prophetic source is actually the official declaration one, and I'm sure some. Why is it doing that? I'm so sorry. I'm sure some of you have know what this is, but just quick background, and you can read, but I'll just read it for you. From the 1860s to the 1880s, the United States government passed laws to make this religious practice illegal. These laws were eventually upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court. After receiving revelation, President Wilford Woodruff issued the following manifesto, pretty much saying that we as a church do not teach polygamy anymore. And I thought that was important just to point out that, like, whenever you ask someone who's not a member of this church, their first question is always like, well, do you guys still practice polygamy? Do you still practice plural marriage? And this is a definite from a Latter-day Prophet that no, we do not. That was in the past and not anymore. Oh my gosh. It is doing this every single time. It's so weird. The second prophetic source I actually found while I was listening to General Conference talks while getting ready in the morning, and this was perfect. Dallin H. Oakes is a wonderful example of someone who sets down the principles of marriage and sets down what we need to know about marriage and eternal marriage at that. And I love his quote from Truth in the Plan that says, "Under the great plan of our loving Creator, the mission of his restored church is to help the children of God achieve the supernal blessings of exaltation in the celestial kingdom, which can be attained only through an eternal marriage between a man and a woman." And once again, this is President Oakes manifesting and telling us that we need to be sealed with a companion. We need to get married to either, if you're a man to a woman or a woman to a man. And in the case of plural marriage, sometimes that had to be multiple, but it doesn't make it any less important. Then two scriptural references. D&C 132 is just so amazing with the whole idea of eternal marriage and stuff like that. And what was interesting too, just real fast, as I was doing this project, is I thought there would be a lot more information and references to plural marriage in the latter days. So like I thought I would find a lot more information about it through General Conference talks, and I was mistaken. And it was actually kind of tricky for me to find these things. But the first reference I like, and yes, in 132 is just verse 19. And verse 19 just says, "And again, verily I say unto you, if a man marry a wife by my word, which is my law, and by the new and everlasting covenant, and it is sealed unto them by the Holy Spirit of promise, by who is anointed, unto whom I have appointed this power and the keys of this priesthood, and it shall be unto them. You shall come forth in the first resurrection, and if it be after the first resurrection, in the next resurrection, and shall inherit thrones, kingdoms, principalities, and powers, dominions, all heights and depths. Then shall it be written in the Lamb's book of life that he shall commit no murder, whereby to shed innocent blood. And if ye abide in my covenant, and commit no murder, whereby to shed innocent blood, it shall be done unto them in all things whatsoever my servant hath put upon them in time and through all eternity, and shall be of full force when they are out of the world, and they shall pass by the angels and the gods which are set there, to their exaltation and glory in all things, as hath been sealed upon their heads, which glory shall be a fullness and a continuation of the seeds forever and ever." And I definitely could have chosen another scripture from chapter 132, but I decided to kind of look more and to see what else I could find. And I found the official declaration one, which pretty much just states that we no longer practice plural marriage as a church. That was, and I kind of feel like I'm just summarizing what I've already said, but it's just important for us nowadays to point out the fact that no, we do not practice plural marriage anymore today. So the Joseph Smith papers, did I not? Oh, here we go. I do not know even what's happening. This is crazy. Thank you for being so patient while you're listening to this. But the Joseph Smith papers were really cool to me. I had never really heard about them before. I had just a tiny bit, but I ended up kind of just spending hours just looking through it. But in contribution to my project, I just found this quote. It says, all legal contracts of marriage made before a person is baptized into this church should be sacred and fulfilled. Inasmuch as this church of Christ has been reproached with the crime of fornication and polygamy, we declare that we believe that one man should have one wife and one woman, but one husband, except in case of death, when either is at liberty to marry again. And I just thought this was interesting, because, you know, as a church, we do hold marriage to as a very sacred thing. And sometimes I feel like as we look back at the history of plural marriage, it's hard for us to believe that it was a sacred thing, but it had to be done. And it's something, and you know, it was still marriage. It was still a sealing that is very, very important and sacred to us. Summary concepts. Okay, where are you? Here we are. So the first I would just like to point out is, you know, marriage is a sacred ordinance between one man and one woman. The practice was only from 1852 to 1890, and it was used so that women could find a husband on earth, and so that we could multiply and replenish the earth. God made it clear that this needed to be happen, and so it's important for us to follow his commandments. And concept two was something that was actually kind of interesting that I learned, was that the result of plural marriage actually made the LDS community more of a community. It made us more connected. You know, there were more sealings, there were more eternal blessings that were coming to pass on the earth. And just a takeaway from this project is, I mentioned it before I started this, but I've always had kind of an interesting relationship in with plural marriage and the idea of it. And my biggest takeaway from it, and I hope you feel the same after looking through all of this, is that, you know, we're not going to always understand what God commands of us with the in the church. We're not always going to get all the answers that we maybe want. I'm sure plural marriage is still, you know, raises a lot of questions, and with that, we have to be able to have faith in God that he knows exactly what he's doing, and that everything will make sense in the end. Plural marriage may not have made sense back then, and it definitely doesn't make sense now, especially since we don't practice it now. But God commanded it, and so we need to follow in faith and do what he asks us, because he is our God, and he will never ever lead us astray. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.